Okay, we're going to do what may be amongst the most fun part of the course, and let's talk about images. We're surgeons, we're laparoscopic surgeons. It's all about the video, it's all about the pictures, it's all about the image, and so we're going to do some fun things with the images. As I alluded to earlier, Pocket PCs will handle images very, very well. I'd like you to go to your iPack image viewer in your programs menu, and this is a very convenient program, I'm about to sneeze, for looking at the pictures on your Pocket PC. And we can look in the My Documents, we can look in other locations. And we can take a look at the pictures that are available. Now, if we want to look at what's on the SD card, we go to File, and we go to Look In. So File, Look In, tap that, and we'll go down to the SD card and see if there's anything that's fun to look at. There should be. And I think there's some pictures in here somewhere. They say no. So if you don't see any pictures in there, the other way to get there, go back to it. Back to the SD card. And there's all kinds of pictures in this SD card file that I have, but you might be better off just looking in the SD card without going down into one of the folders. So we'll go to Look In and just select the SD card and say OK. And now you got some great pictures in there. I want to draw your particular attention to this picture. The great thing about putting on the course is you get to show your own children in the course. Here's the only picture of the two of them not fighting, so this is a collector's item. Other things, and you can rotate these around, and you can take a look at all the pictures. So you can look at the pictures. But that's, how do you get the pictures in the Pocket PC is really the most exciting part of all this. There's a lot of ways to view it. You can go into your file management system and click on the pictures directly. But I want to show you a couple ways to get the pictures in. One way is you can have a camera for your Pocket PC. So I've got a camera here, and Alex will, if you pass one around, we've got one to pass around the show, and I'll pass this one around while we're working, doing the demo, so you can stick that in. I'm going to take out my SD card for a moment and put in the camera. Now it's a little dark in here, but as you can see, my camera automatically is recognized, and there's not enough light, but I'm going to go take a picture. That's you. And if you want to look at the picture, you just hit play. Let's see if I can get to it. Can't get the... I'll go over to my image zone. And there's the course. Oops, there's you guys. So we just took this picture. This is a 1.3 megapixel camera, and you can use this as an add-on. You can travel with it. It's obviously a little dark in here, and you can try this for yourself. It'll boot up automatically. The software is on all of your PDAs. So go around and take some pictures. And you can annotate. Now I'm going to go to this picture. So you can annotate these pictures live. So if you're in the operating room and you see something in... Oh, we don't want a whole room full of this. But as you can see, you could be taking a picture in the operating room, and you may not remember what it was so spectacular about it. So you can just tap on the little recorder on the bottom, And now all of a sudden, you can add and annotate all types of things and then put them right with the file. And that's how I added this sound thing. You can see the little red dot, and I'll add this one and say, Justin, you're being shown to a whole group of surgeons, and stop. And he'll get a kick out of it. It's going to save that file. Because a lot of time we take pictures, and I don't know about you, does anybody in the room have a picture of something from the operating room and they have no idea what it was? I got about 1,000 of them. And that gives you an opportunity to annotate. Now, that's great, but we work with complex systems, and I want to show you something that I think is really very exciting and very provocative. And I'm going to pass this camera around the room for other people that want to play with it when I come on down. And as you notice, I took the SD card out, and I'm going to give this SD card over to Dave Florzak, who was kind enough to come from Stryker. This is right out of my Pocket PC from the course, and he's going to show how we move images from the operating room to the PDA. And if you remember what I showed you at the beginning of the course, now that you've learned to add attachments to your email, now we don't have an operating room, we don't have an abdomen to show, but we do have a course participant. So Dave, if you'd capture.
Steve?
Yeah.
That picture that you took, though, you had it with the card out. Now, that's on your main system now, right?
With the card out, that picture went to my main system memory.
So then you'd have to put the card back in and transfer it over to...
Absolutely. So now we also have other course participants. You could do either one. I'm just taking pictures for the purpose of doing the demo. We want to see happy faces, so lots of happy faces. All right. So now imagine that these are intraoperative photographs. And one of the power of all of these computer systems is convergence. We're trying to make the operating room work with our commercially available toys and create convergence. Yes? Absolutely. This is a USB access. You can put a multi-reader card, so you don't need an SD card. Dave, do you have the multi-reader card?
The jump drive. This actually supports 3 different types of cards. And multi-card readers that have support
right. So you could go to CompUSA, get your multi-card reader, and right off the shelf, and stick it right in the USB port. Now, if you'll pull the SD card out. So what we're trying to see is convergence between our operating room equipment, our PCs, our PDAs. And you feel like the magician that you want to really make sure that it's live and it really works. So I'm going to stick it back in the SD slot. So imagine you just finished your case and you want to go show the family what you found in the operating room. So I'm going to go to the SD card. Let's do the look in. And now we'll get them. Okay. So there we are. They're a little dark because the room is dark, and we could put on a little show if we wanted to. Here we are. And you can see, there she is, a little dark, but the room is dark. But a normal operating room picture would be well lit. Now, what can you do with this? Why is this powerful? Why is this better than printing paper pictures? Why is this better if you already have a capture system, putting it on CD? Number one, when you walk out of the operating room with a CD, you can't show it to your family that's waiting to see. You may not want to. You can't show it to your colleagues. You can't email it from the operating room. And if you put one case on a CD, by the end of the day, you've got a whole pocket full of CDs or a whole office full of stacks of CDs or print pictures, and they don't go anywhere. When you load them on the SD card, you can use them right away. Go ahead.
Actually, you can use the same principle just to import into a database. You can have pictures of a difficult part of the procedure you like to remember into a database, either in Access or as well the one that Dan has shown.
When you look at the pictures on here, you could actually sit down with the family and say, this is what your gallbladder looked like, or this is what the dead bowel looked like, or you could show it to your colleagues. You can upload it to your computer. These are regular JPEGs. You can use them as attachments to emails. It is immediately useful, and it all fits in your pocket. No more CDs, and that you can transfer information. Now, the other things that you can do with convergence is that you don't have to have you don't have to use a thumb drive. You could just as easily put a hard drive in. Dave, do you have a hard drive to show them?
Yeah.
So you could record video and stick it in your pocket, or you could record limited video clips and put them right on your pocket PC. A lot more useful than carrying a bunch of CDs around that you can't figure out what's in your CD. The SD cards are cheap. 500 megabytes will hold about 700 pictures of low resolution and about 300 pictures of high resolution. Question?
Can we beam a picture from my PD?
Absolutely. That's the other powerful thing about this. Let's see if we can go find the file. Let's see if we get a beaming option. Let's end the show. Let's go right to the file menu. So now I think I should do it from here probably. We'll go to, so you get the menu, and as you can see, beam file is one of the options. And you can send it by email, you could beam the file, you could make it your wallpaper if the gallbladder excision is that beautiful and you want to look at it every day. So you've got possibilities that never existed before when you were printing to paper, capturing on floppies, or capturing on CDs. This is an extraordinary powerful tool as all these electronic things start to converge. And you can beam to each other any of the pictures that are in the database, and it works that quickly. Other questions about that?
Steve, did you say you can use a thumb drive?
Absolutely. Thumb drive, there's a thumb drive plugged right in. And if you want to talk to Dave at the end of the course, Dave will be here at the end and he can show you some demos. You can use a regular thumb drive that's just flash. That's a thumb drive that happens to hold a card. Now, how many people have given a PowerPoint presentation? All right. And how many people think that it's a pain at times to carry around your laptop just to give a PowerPoint presentation? I feel like I'm selling Cuisinart up here. Wouldn't it be great if you could only do a great job from your PDA? And I think that's possible. So we'll have a fascinating demo for you. And I'm going to install what is known as a Margie card. And you have some Margie stuff in your packet from Margie. And again, I'm not here to sell. There's a couple of different ones. This is about $200 and something. I'm going to stick the Margie in my compact flash slot. And I'm going to switch the switchers. And now I'm going to attempt live before a national audience to give a PowerPoint presentation just from my PDA. The laptop is totally out of the circuit. Don't look at that laptop. It's totally out of the circuit. I'm going to go to the Margie Presenter to Go software. And Margie's up. And so you can look at Presenter to Go because it'll look at the files, and you can view the PowerPoint on your program, Start, Presenter to Go, and select Margie, and I'm going to put up a presentation. This is a talk that I gave called The Fate of the OR of the Future, and I'm going to put my PDA down, look, no hands, and I'm going to pick up the Margie remote control. And with any luck, we're going to be able to give our presentation. So all I brought was the PDA. Now, you can't do video with this. This will do stills. Video someday. But you can give an entire PowerPoint presentation remote from your PDA using your remote control. You can't resist the next slide. I guess I have to point it at it. Patriots, Super Bowl winners. And as you can see, you probably couldn't tell the difference between a PowerPoint presentation given with images from a laptop and something that you walked in the room with your PDA and your Margie adapter. This Margie adapter simply plugged into the digital projector, and we're off and rolling. And the remote control is really nice. If I want to go to slide number 44, I just type a 44 in, and that's slide 44. Question?
Your presentation has to be on the main memory?
No, you could do it from the SD card. There's presentations on the SD card. So I have, this presentation is probably on the SD card. So there are some presentations on the Margie. You can put them in your SD card. Now, how do you do this? Can you just drag and drop the PowerPoint file? The answer to that is yes and no. The answer is yes, and I'll show you another way in a second, but no, not for Margie. And in your workbook, it shows you that when you buy a Margie thing, and I said it's about $200 and change, it puts a program in your Microsoft PowerPoint that when you finish it, it converts it to Margie and sends it to your PDA. And the reason for that is because of resolution. You get great resolution when you convert the files, and you can click through, and it'll do the animations, and it'll do the pictures, and you can see this is plenty high quality. And you can give your presentation directly from your PDA. Now, there's other ways to use the VGA adapter. And I'm going to get out of this for a second. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to go up to something called the Margie mirror. So I'm going to enable the Margie mirror and hide it. And now there's another way to look at PowerPoint, and that's through what is known as clear view presentations. And this is no conversion necessary. You can take these right and just drag them right into your PDA. I'm going to open one. This one's called minimally invasive parathyroid surgery. And here's the slides, and we'll do the slideshow. But what I see is not quite as good a graphic set. So yes, you can drag and drop some PowerPoint slides, show them through the Margie mirror. You can also show Word documents. You could do an entire meeting. The whole Word document will come up. I'll show some documents in a second. But I think for doing PowerPoint, you get better, more crisper images when you do this. Also, the remote control doesn't work with this. So you see that the writing is not quite as crisp. So I think it's worth it converting it to Margie if you're going to show it on your PDA. Now, there's other things you can show with these viewers. And I'm going to go to the clear view document. This picks up Word files. I may be driving this too hard. I want to reset. And so you could literally get a little keyboard, pick up clear view document, project it on a screen, and you could set up yourself a little mobile office, because when you're typing, you don't need that fine resolution. So convert the files for PowerPoint, and you can do these directly off the presentation viewer. And I've given a number of talks, and it's amazing when you do this, people won't notice that you don't have a laptop. So there's the minutes, and we'll view it. We'll zoom it out. So there's the meeting minutes, and you can pick some other resolution, and you can do this to a monitor, you do it to a digital projector, and so you've got a lot of flexibility using direct file feed. But if you're going to give PowerPoint, I recommend converting it. Question in the back. It makes them a little smaller, but what it really does is it makes sure that the type comes over more crisply. But as you can see, those are some fairly large images that I showed on the green PowerPoint presentation, and you really couldn't tell that they didn't come off your laptop. Not in Margie. You edit on the desktop. But what you can do in Margie, let me show you something that's kind of fun. I'm going to close the mirror and open back up Presenter to Go. Okay, so now you're on the screen, and you're sitting here, and if you, let's say you didn't want to walk away, and you want to say, hi to everybody, you can annotate right on the screen. If you, for instance, want to go on to the next slide, and you say, this is really the guy, That's Bill. If it was, in fact, Bill. So one of the things that Margie lets you do not only is remote control, lets you use it as a pointer, lets you screen annotate. And so personally, I've had a lot of fun with this. Questions about PowerPoint presentations? You can find this from the website. You have to pay attention to which model number. They do have them for the Palm and the Pocket PC. Now, some people have asked during the break, how did we get the PDA onto the screen in order to give the course? And so we found a little program that's available on your CD called Microsoft Remote Display. And what Remote Display does, and I'll close so we can go back to it. What Remote Display does is gives you an opportunity to put this on your desktop, on your presentation device. And it's a really handy program because we made all the screenshots. So you download Remote Display, then it puts a program on your desktop and on your PDA. So you turn on the Remote Display here, and I want a nice big picture for here. And then you go back to your PDA, and somewhere on your PDA that you'll see when we connect the two is a little symbol for Remote Display. In order to be able to show it to you, I have to connect. So I tap on this symbol and tap OK and connect, and that's how we did it. So this is a USB cable, and it allows you to show everything, and it's great for when you're working on a program or you're developing it. One of the really nice things is everything that I do on the keyboard here translates onto the PDA, including typing. If you put up your calculator, for instance, I can just either use the numbers. Is a big number. So it's easier sometimes than working on your PDA. So if you didn't have an application and you wanted to type really on it and you're not a keyboard user or a block recognizer, you can use Microsoft. It's Remote Display. It's free. The instructions are on that, and you can set this up. It's really easy to use. The obvious question is, what about wireless? There are some wireless instructions for getting this to show up wirelessly as a peer-to-peer network on your screen. Two last topics. A lot of people have said, what is Wi-Fi and what is Bluetooth? What can Bluetooth do for me? And so Bluetooth is a method of setting up a small, what we call a PAN, a personal area network. And there are a lot of different Bluetooth devices. And somebody said, well, why do you have a printer up at the front of the room? And I said, well, we're going to use it during the course. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what Bluetooth can do in terms of your PDA. First, I'm going to close one of these. I have too many of these open. With Bluetooth, you can talk to your telephone from your PDA. With Bluetooth, you can wirelessly transmit information to your PDA. And some of the things that it'll allow you to do is print. So I'm going to go back in and restart this. And show you a little bit about Bluetooth in action. To do that, you turn on your Bluetooth manager, and that's on in the corner. So we're going to turn on the Bluetooth manager in this corner and turn Bluetooth on. That should start a little blue light flashing. So now Bluetooth is activated on your PDA. There's a blue light flashing. And let's say you want to print something. So I'm going to go back to my contacts menu. And I'm going to select John Bookwalter, or maybe it's his son, Bill Bookwalter. And let's say you want to print this. You could be printing a billing sheet. You could be printing a Word document. You could be printing a lot of different kinds of things. But if you want to print it, I'm going to come back out. I'm going to tap on it. And I've got to get rid of it. Okay. Up comes the print menu. And there's a couple different ways to do it. You can send it by Bluetooth, or you can print it. I'm going to try, get out of there. I'm going to try to printing it. And I want to print it to this. My job has been submitted. It wants me to select a Bluetooth device. I think it's got to be able to see it. Maybe we'll come around. I'll tap OK. Well, I see everybody's pocket PCs in the whole room. I think we're getting too many Bluetooth. It works perfectly when you only have one Bluetooth running. There we go. 30 feet. This printer will also print regularly. This is a portable HP printer. And Bill Buckwalter's contact information just printed out. Now, for those of you that want to set up a wireless network at home, you can actually stick a Bluetooth dongle in the back of your computer. And instead of having a Wi-Fi network or a cabled network, you could have a small Bluetooth printing network if you had a Bluetooth-capable printer. And so in setting up the course, I actually was able to set up a Bluetooth-capable printer, and it's even easier than setting up a Wi-Fi network. So you can use Bluetooth, and you can use it for GPSs. It is a communications protocol that allows you to do some things that are a little bit different. It's a lot easier to set this up, and you just print to it the same way you print to any other printer from your desktop. You can beam information by Bluetooth. We have enough of that. And this is just one example of how Bluetooth out of your PDA can be used in the office, at home, to send information wirelessly from device to device. Now, the two last things that we want to do in the time remaining is I want to talk a little bit about the internet. And in your workbook, there's a few last pages about connecting your PDA to the internet. The socket LAN cards are there just to sort of show you what the card looks like. These cards, when you plug them in, will go and look. There's no wireless signal here in the convention center that's useful. This is an example of how you can take a PDA that didn't come with Wi-Fi and turn it in to a wireless PDA. One of the problems with the early wireless LAN cards is that they really sucked up the power. So one of the things I wanted to show you what's out there is a very low power wireless LAN card, and I ran this off a fully charged battery for over 3 hours continuously, and set it up into my wireless network at home. So if you have a PDA and you don't want to upgrade, then one of the options that you have is sticking a wireless LAN card. Some are for the I/O SD slots and some for the compact flash slots. These ones by socket worked really well with the HP devices and will run your PDA for hours. In your workbook is an example, once you're connected, of places you can go. Pay attention to sites that are optimized for Pocket PC, because otherwise you get a full web page. But there are lots of sites that are optimized for mobile PC, movies, information, search, weather, travel, emergency medicine, as you can see in the workbook. And so if you are in a wireless zone, or if you tend to spend a lot of time in the wireless zone, you don't have to buy a new PDA. You can upgrade doing that. Now we have a couple little just housekeeping details while we're answering any questions. The last thing I want to show you how to do is what is known as a hard reset. So if you would take the SD cards out of your PDA and put them back in the little plastic cases, because I have to return those. And if Dan, if you would collect, and Alex, the cameras, the little cameras, just so we don't lose those. Sometimes you need to just completely start over and flush your PDA. And many people have had that experience. And sometimes when you have to ship all the PDAs back to HP, you don't really want to give them all your schedule and your contact information. So what you do in that case is what is known as a hard reset. On these particular devices, if you take out your stylet, you're going to push buttons 1 and 4, which are the two on the outside, and this is where you have to be really